So you might be asking yourself, so how do we plan? How do we write this down? What do we do? What are the elements of planning? And the elements of planning are very similar to a regular marketing plan, but in this case, you're going to take a look at it from a social media perspective, from a technological perspective, from a digital perspective. So there are usually anywhere from 10 to about 13 or 14 sections in your plan. It could be a very deliberate, well written plan if you have someone who could do it or if you want to do it yourself. It could be anywhere from 10 pages, something very short, to 25 pages, which is very deliberate and has a lot of content that can be shared with everybody who's helping you in your social media planning and content creation. So you usually start with the executive summary, which gives an overview of what you want to accomplish, and you have all the key points that are in the rest of your paper. And your paper can be written down. You can, take a pen and some paper and just jot down ideas, or you can make it more formal and type it on your computer on a Word document. It's really up to you, as long as you have those ideas out of your head onto paper or onto your computer. And you do what is called a background check or a summary of the industry that your business is in, but taking a look at it from again, from a social media perspective. What is the industry doing right now in terms of social media? What is your industry? What are the best practices? You can also do a social media audit and then take a look at what you've done so far, what your brand is doing out there, and what other brands are doing, and figure out those numbers. You can also do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but in terms of, again, social media. And then based on that background that you're working with, then you can start setting some goals and objectives for your specific platforms, or what you really want to accomplish with each of the platforms. So you can write those down. What are the goals and objectives? And I'll go into each of these sections in separate videos. But this is where you set your goals, your target, your strategies. How are you going to get there? Who are you going to speak to? Who is your target market? What kind of platforms you're going to be using to reach them? What are the strategies that will work for each of the platforms? How are you going to implement those strategies? What kind of content will connect you to your target market? And also, how are you going to monitor and budget the strategies, right? Because you can create a beautiful plan, but if you don't have the budget for it, then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually do it. So once you go through that, and then you can measure your return on investment once you've implemented all of those sections, and then you can see how it's working, or it can change. Like I mentioned earlier, these plans are not set in stone. They're changing, they're flexible. You can make those changes, and that will allow you to test things out and see what works and what doesn't. So click on the next video to get us started on doing the social media audit.